I love it because it never gets boring. I mean, this is a show that could have a format of being a procedural where you fall into the pattern of week to week. There's a case and a mystery, and you go and solve it. But having this grand arc of there being two universes and doppelgangers and different versions of yourself, you never get bored because you'll be playing one character, and then literally in the same scene, you'll go and change and play a different character and go and interact with yourself. It's amazing, and I don't think there's been any other show besides maybe Battlestar or something that kind of has had that. The Blue vs. Lincoln is pretty consistent. Like, I experience that week to week, and so that's always in my head, and that mythology is always present. When I go to play the alt Lincoln, we're not seeing him all the time now. At first we saw him all the time, and so I knew that character very well. And now we kind of jump back and forth, and we won't see him for a while, so we've had to go and have conversations about what's happening between the episodes, like what progress is that alternate universe making in getting David Robert Jones, what kinds of cases might they have had between times we've seen them, and filling that in. And so it's challenging on one hand, but at the same time it's so much fun to get to fill in those blanks and experience a completely different version of what is technically the same character. Lincoln, the Blue vs. Lincoln, it was scary for me when that character was created because he seemed to be a threat to the Peter character in terms of taking his place in Olivia's life and on the show and solving these cases. And it was really important to me that Lincoln not alienate the audience by trying to replace Peter, or the show by trying to replace Peter. And so that character I see as a different aspect through which the audience can view the show, and who he is this person that's not as confident and centered and bold as the Peter Bishop character, and is still very much on the outside. And he's kind of like, he's a bit more skeptical as well. He's kind of a Scully in X-Files kind of a thing, and he's someone that still doesn't quite know how much of this he's supposed to believe, and can't believe how deep down the rabbit hole they've gone. And I think primarily what he is kind of a reminder to the audience that that the Fringe world has gone way beyond what is expected and what was initially experienced. And I think those characters like Peter and Olivia are so used to that experience that I think the Lincoln character is a reminder, like, okay, hey, let's not forget how crazy this is, because it's pretty nuts. Lincoln's really confused because Olivia had been dosed with cortexiphin and is now having the memories of an Olivia from a different timeline. So, I mean, Lincoln's initial thoughts are, wait a minute, this is not natural. The Olivia that I knew was starting to fall in love with me, and I was falling in love with her, and now she's becoming a different Olivia because she was kidnapped and drugged. Like, that's not okay. You can't fall in love with her. It's like date rape or something. Like, what's going on? But it gets more and more confusing because that Olivia and Peter are believing that they are who they are, and Lincoln has seen some pretty crazy stuff, and he doesn't know what to believe anymore. So he's extremely confused right now as a man, essentially without a country and without a universe, and doesn't know where he belongs. The tough thing when you're preparing is I'll open up, whenever I get a new script, I'll open it up and quickly flip through to see if there's how many Lincoln acting with Lincoln scenes there are, because those are the hardest things to prepare for. Because normally you can show up and there's another actor to play off of, and every actor on the show is so giving that when the camera's on you, they're giving you so much to react to that you can essentially use that, and no matter what work you've done in your preparation, you have this live person to bounce off of. But then when you have scenes when you're acting with yourself, you're looking at air, or you're looking at a stand-in that has their hair cut like you and has your clothes on, so that from behind it looks like the other version of Lincoln, but they're not doing anything and they're not giving you anything. So those scenes are incredibly challenging, not only the fact that you need to memorize more lines, but then you also need to know, what am I going to be reacting to that in the moment I'm not going to be able to actually see? So you need to create all these things ahead of time, which is incredibly intimidating and thrilling and fun.